Dave and I had been married for just over a year. Life was full, we were both working, and we spent our spare time fell walking, cycling, caving, skiing and motorbiking. We had no interest in God. In fact, Dave thought that anything like that was all nonsense. When we got engaged, Dave said to me very honestly that if I really wanted to get married in church, we could, but that it would all be meaningless to him. So we got married in a registry office. Also, my brother asked Dave to be a godfather to one of his children, and Dave said that he just couldn't do it as he didn't believe in God. Then, on the 1st of December 1996, we were on the M6 on our way back from visiting Dave's mum, when we hit a patch of standing water. In fact, the police told me afterwards that there had been a really bad hailstorm and that the hail was still most likely underneath the water. We went into an aquaplane, spun off the carriageway and hit a lamppost with Dave's side of the car. Dave suffered a really bad head injury, a leg broken in 2 places and a broken arm. He was in a coma and I was told he may not survive. When, after several months, he did slowly emerge from the coma, he was left completely unable to move, talk or swallow, but he could blink for yes. He was then transferred to a neuro-rehabilitation unit in Newcastle upon Tyne. On the ward, Dave had a television at the side of his bed. I was sitting by him one day watching TV when Songs of Praise came on. So I said, "Shall we watch something else, Dave?" as before the accident it would have been the last thing he would have watched. But no blink. "Do you want to watch it?" Blink for yes. I was really surprised, but after that he always wanted Songs of Praise. Dave came home after 12 months needing 24-hour care and was fed by a feeding tube into his stomach. As you can imagine, I was having a really hard time trying to process everything that had happened to us. At one point, Dave had to go to hospital in Oxford to have a shunt fitted, and my godmother, who was a Christian, came to see us. As she was leaving, she just said to me very quietly, "The Lord can help you." She left me wondering about this Lord. Then I was in a bookstore in Kendal when I spotted a Buddhist book called The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. It appealed to me because of my love of mountains, and I thought I really need to know about living and dying. As I read it, it struck me that some of the ideas in it were also true of the Christian faith. Then around that time, one of Dave's carers, Sandra, a Christian, took me on one side and said there was something coming up at her church that she thought would be really helpful for me. She offered to sit with Dave in her own time so that I could go. At first I thought, no, I don't want to go. But then, as I had a lot of respect for Sandra, I decided to go. It turned out to be an alpha course about the Christian faith. The course really spoke to me that we are created to live in a relationship with God, and that until we find that relationship, there will always be something missing in our lives. I decided that I wanted to become a Christian, and one night, after coming home from the course, I told Dave. He beamed at me, and I asked him whether he wanted to become a Christian too. Blink for yes. So I read the prayer at the back of the Why Jesus booklet, asking for Jesus' forgiveness and thanking him for dying on the cross and the gift of his Spirit, and asking him to come into our lives. We became Christians together. Eventually, we managed to get Dave to church, and we went pretty much every week until Dave died 12 years after the accident. Some people might think it would have been easier on Dave if he had died the night of the accident, but if he had, he would have died unsaved. I'm convinced that Dave managed so well for 12 years because of his trust in Jesus and the hope it gave him that one day he will have a new body and an eternity with Jesus. After Dave died, I suffered a nervous breakdown which went on for some time. I ended up in a place of despair, feeling very far from God and Jesus. Eventually, with the support of my family and the help of some very patient Christian and non-Christian friends and a lot of prayer, I started to see the light again. Then the Lord gave me a piece of scripture that set the seal on my recovery. The last verse of Psalm 113. He settles the childless woman in her home as a happy mother of children.